Her the General Director of Instituto Mora, Gaby Sanchez. Thank you for being here. Dear friends, dear colleagues from Instituto Mora, from other institutions, and from Prodigees in particular, it's a great pleasure to welcome you to Instituto Mora in Mexico City to celebrate and to work in the final conference of Prodigees. It has been 5 years, right, of hard work. I still remember when Wolf and I started to talk a little bit about possible areas of research cooperation between Instituto Mora and then DIE, now IDOS, and then probably with other institutions. This was like probably 2018, 2019. And at that time, we were saying, you know, there's this topic that is very important that has to do with digitalization and technological transformation. And we have the feeling that our colleagues working on international cooperation, global governance, and this broad international area are not really analyzing the full implications of this transformation. And now, 5, 6 years afterwards, I have the feeling that we somehow live in a different world, in the sense that, especially with the pandemic, this technological change started to accelerate, and we are seeing deep implications, both positive and negative, political implications for the economy, for development in general. And I think, in that sense, this 5, 6 years doing this project in this time was very adequate and very timely. And I have the feeling that even when the world has changed in terms of the accelerated importance of technology, one thing that is definitely true is that we are seeing that many of these innovations are, from my point of view, market-driven. Like the main drivers of innovations are basically market rather than development, like rather than using innovations for trying to solve urgent, old development problems. And I think this is beyond what we could do. Actually, these are like big actors, like driving, technology transformation. But definitely, I think the fact that in the last 5 years we brought together people from more than 10 institutions, from 8 countries at least, from different disciplinary backgrounds. And we had like 70 something, 74 secondments, very proudly. People going to other institutions, building, networking, and exchanging knowledge and experiences from our own countries. I think it creates a big asset that is very, very valuable. And one of the main things that we would like to achieve with this conference is that, this is a time when we all come together and we share everything that we have been doing for 5, 6 years. And I think it's very, very valuable to come up with, I don't know if recommendations or a declaration or something, but definitely just simply to identify that there's someone in Brazil, in South Africa, in Indonesia that is working something similar to what I'm working, and trying to find ways for this Prodigees network to be sustainable in the long term. I think it will be fantastic in the context that we are living currently. Anyhow, said this, I will say again, just welcome to Instituto Mora. We are very glad that you are here. I think it's going to be very, very productive during this week. And I'm going to hand over to Wolf Reiner, please.
Yeah, thank you very much, Carlos. Good morning, everyone. Dear representatives from government, from the German embassy, from Instituto Mora, from the Managing Global Governance Network partners here in Mexico and internationally. It's a great honor, really, to see so many people following our invitation to come together to discuss sustainable development and the intersection with the digitalization here. The official welcome is next on the agenda with representatives from Instituto Mora and from IDOS. So I try to be short and just contextualize a bit more. How come we are actually sitting here together? Yeah, so what's the background of that? And Carlos has mentioned that before. It started in 2018. And I'm speaking here in the capacity of the co-coordinator of the Prodigees project, but also as the head of the Managing Global Governance program, which is, so to say, a little bit the founding network for this project. And in 2018, we actually implemented a series of conferences exactly on this question: how can we use digital technologies to advance sustainable development goals? We implemented a series of conferences in Brazil, in China, in India, in Indonesia, in Mexico, and in South Africa. And as a result of this conference series, we found us sitting together over breakfast in Rio de Janeiro. So, and some people who participated in the breakfast are in this room today. And then we ultimately decided, yeah, why don't we have to investigate that further. We have to come together in a project. We decided to apply for external funding by the European Union. And in this way, Prodigees came to life. And Prodigees since then constitutes the main framework for our cooperation on digitalization affairs in the Managing Global Governance program. When Prodigees comes to an end this year, the good thing is the Managing Global Governance program and the network is still there, sustains. We can still advance cooperation in the field, even if we are in a final conference for this part of the work. We will also continue our work on cooperation towards advancing competencies in all institutions, with individuals, with organizations, to deal with the challenges that come from digitalization and make sense of them for sustainable development, but also to actually come together and find a common understanding of what are the problems that are out there, which is not easy to do. Ultimately, also you are ambitious to say, let's also come up with the innovative solutions. Let's try to do that. That's at least the mandate of what we do in the MGG program. When we speak about these topics, you mentioned that before, the world has changed a lot. Digitalization has changed a lot compared to the times when we started. In 2018, I think we belong to the pioneers, actually, who started working at this intersection. Now, looking back at it, I realize it. Yeah? And today, I'm very glad to see there's so many people working, at least on the digitalization side. I'm not so sure whether it's always in connection to sustainable development, but I also hope that we could inspire people to take up the work on this. In 2018, I must also admit, we didn't have a very complex understanding of what we are investigating here. Today, admittedly, we're still confused, I think, about this topic. But I like to say in this context, at least at a higher level. And but not only digitalization and the world has changed, but also we have changed. And that is an important thing I want to mention here as a final point. I think we have built up a very vibrant community of researchers, but also practitioners in this network over the years. And we have established a culture of an open dialogue between us and trust. We have developed very strong interpersonal connections, but also interinstitutional connections in this project. And I would really like to stress that we should not take this for granted. This is nothing easy to do, and it's also not easy to maintain. And we know this can be very, very valuable in these difficult times. Now, over 70 research secondments, a lot of publications, implemented trainings. We have carried out authors workshops, policy labs, a lot of activities in the last years. Now it's time for the conference to bring this together. bring together most people or many people, as many as possible, who've been involved in the project over the time, and also connected to the Mexican experts, the Mexican chapter of the Managing Global Governance Network. It's a time to celebrate. I agree with you, Carlos. Yeah, so it's work and celebrate what we have achieved. Yeah, so there's still more to be achieved, but I think we can be happy about what has been done so far. And my wish for the following days is that we make use of the ties that we have established. So to cherish this cooperation infrastructure, how we call it sometimes, that we build up. And celebrate also international cooperation, which is not so easy and not so common these days. So thanks for everyone to make the effort here. I'm handing over now to one key person in our digitalization MGG, together with the great team of Moda. Many people here in the room from IDOS. Ben has been the pivotal point in the Prodigees project over the 5 years with a lot of dedication. And Ben has also prepared this conference here, and you will help us to make a little bit sense of what's on the agenda for the next date.
All right. Thank you very much. Can you hear me? Is this also working? All right. So thank you, Carlos, and thank you, Wolf, for the opening words. Thank you to our esteemed guests for joining us. Also, thank you to the organizational teams of both Instituto Mora and IDOS who have worked together to bring this conference to life. And of course, thanks to all of you coming from near and far to join us for the results that will emerge from our discussions in the next days. So I'm Benjamin Stewart. I'm a researcher at the German Institute of Development and Sustainability, IDOS, in Bonn. I'm also, as Wolf said, the Prodigees project manager for the last 5 years since the awarding of the grant and the beginning of the project. So it's something that we're very proud of, right? To see this project through from start to finish, and just very grateful that you have decided to join us for this. So now I will briefly walk you through the agenda for the days ahead. Let's see if this works. So I hope that you can read this, but if not, hopefully you also have a program in your own hands. Right? It turned out to be a little smaller on the screen than we anticipated. But as was already mentioned, after these opening words, we will have the Memorandum of Understanding ceremony, so the formalizing of the partnership between IDOS and Instituto Mora, with Director Gabriela Sanchez and Dr. Sven Grimm from the side of IDOS, and then also our representative from the German Embassy, Emmanuel Kahn, right, giving some opening remarks. Afterwards, after a little coffee break that we will surely have time for and be very happy about, we will have a public keynote address by Pablo and Enrique Yanes Rizzo, the Secretary of Education, Science, Technology, and Innovation in Mexico City. Thank you again for joining us. We will have first responses to Mr. Rizzo's remarks by Carlos Dominguez here, Professor Dr. Willem Furry from Stellenbosch University, and Dr. Medellina Henditio from the Center for Strategic and International Studies in Jakarta. So, following these responses, we will have a group picture. We need a family picture to commemorate the event. Our comms specialist, Albert, will organize us in the garden for said group picture. Yeah. From the group picture, we walk to the other building of Instituto Mora at the Sede Pusin address. It is only a 10-minute walk or less, and we will guide you to this location. And don't worry, it is just as beautiful as the building we are in. And there we will have lunch in the garden. And so the lunch will be waiting for us upon arrival. Afterwards, we'll have an Impact of Prodigees session. So this is a panel discussion with the steering committee of the Prodigees project. So the board members who have seen the project through in the past 5 years from its representative institutions. After a short break, we'll have a gallery conversation. So we have, true to the MGG nature, the Managing Global Governance style of organizing conferences, we have an interactive event. Right? And so this is an art gallery that has been set up, or will be set up during lunch, let's say, at the other Instituto Mora building, in which you will engage with partners and with a conversation on digitalization and sustainability that is inspired by what you see in the pictures. We will explain that in greater detail whenever we arrive there. And from the gallery conversation, we go to dinner at El Gran León de Oro. For those of you staying at the Fiesta Inn, it is just across the road. So it is not far from here as well. All right. Tuesday, right?
Too detailed, right?
Too detailed.
Not too bad.
Okay, not too deep. So for the rest of the conference, we will be at the other address, the Sede Pusin address of Instituto Mora. We will engage in parallel workshops, right? The Prodigees researchers who are here have prepared together workshops to engage you in discussions in the various priority areas that emerged in the last 5 years of the project. And so we will ask you later to choose which of the parallel workshops that you would like to attend. And in the afternoon of Tuesday, we will go to the MTP Data Center in Santa Fe. So this is a very special event organized by our colleagues who are representing the data center here today, as well as Simona Lucatello. Thank you very much for all of the effort to put this together. We will receive a tour and some introductions to what the center has to offer, followed by, of course, dinner. Wednesday.
Can you press the button?
Yes, of course. And yes, of course. Wednesday is about harvesting prodigies, presenting what have we done in these past 5 years and what do we want to take away from this project. Where does it go from here, right? The prodigies past and future. We are interested to carry on this topic of digitalization and sustainability. So how do we do that together? And this is followed by a bar camp. So these are open workshops that emerge from your particular interest, things you've heard over the last days here at the conference, topics that you think were not represented that you would like to hear more about. It is up to you, the participants, to design the workshops, but we have MGG Academy alumni who are well-versed in organizing these workshops, and they will lead you through the process. And on the side, we will also work through the Prodigees book project that is being developed based upon the research that we have conducted in these last 5 years. And afterwards, we have a discussion on artificial intelligence and the challenges and opportunities by Dr. Claudia Jimenez of the Technological Institute of Monterrey and Irais Galvez from Google Mexico. That is followed by the closing of the conference, where we will reflect and evaluate and decide together what we do going forward on this topic. And after that, we have a farewell dinner at Corazon de Marguerite in Coyoacan, in which afterwards, for those of you who are international and interested to see more of the area, we will give you time also to explore. And then the Thursday program is internal. So this is for Prodigy Steering Committee members and advisory board members only. This is the final steering committee meeting of this project. We have had at least one, if not two, every year, right? Steering the project through COVID, right? And then through a re-energizing of the interest in the topic and a recommitment to staff exchanges. And with the 74 secondments, 149 months of research exchanges taking place, we need to decide what we do with that energy and also how to report it properly, right? So, yeah. Yeah. And so that is our agenda here at the Prodigees Conference. So again, thank you so much for joining us for these days. Really.
Okay, so a key part of this initial ceremony is that, as Ben mentioned when he was reviewing the program, we are going to sign a memo of understanding between Instituto Mora and IDOS, which I hope is going to be an example also for other memos of understandings with other institutions. And for that, I would like to invite General Director of Instituto Mora, Gabriela Sanchez, to share some official opening remarks, and if you can join Sven Grimm, Head of Knowledge and Cooperation at IDOS, and Herr Emmanuel Brandt, representative of the German entity in Mexico. Thank you very much.
Muy buenos días, tengan todas y todos ustedes. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to el Instituto Mora, Public Research Center of the Ministry of Science, Humanities, Technology and Innovation in Mexico. I want to extend a respectful and affectionate welcome to Dr. Sven Grimm, Head of the Knowledge and Cooperation and Training Department in IDOS. And of course, I want to greet Emmanuel Brandt, Attaché for Development Cooperation in the German Embassy in Mexico. We are really very pleased to have you here with us, to have the research and innovation staff of the Prodigees project, as well as the steering committee and the members of the Prodigees Advisory Board. We also welcome with great joy the experts, researchers, and representatives of various international and Mexican institutions who are both here with us and online. For those who come from very far, I really hope your stay in Mexico City is very beautiful and productive one. The Prodigees project has been an initiative funded by the European Union within the framework of the Horizon 2020 program, with the aim of strengthening cooperation between Europe and emerging countries in research and digitalization and its impact in sustainable development. For the Instituto Mora, it has been an honor to be participants together with the German Institute of Development and Sustainability in the coordination of this initiative, whose benefits have been valuable and enriching in terms of research and innovation. This project has managed to connect 8 countries on 5 continents to investigate the impact of digitalization on topics as relevant as the digital transformation and global governance, seeking to evaluate policies for inclusive and sustainable digitalization. Impact for labor markets, and economy development, analyzing automation, employment, and new forms of work in emerging countries. Environmental sustainability, evaluating the impact of artificial intelligence, blockchain, and other technologies on climate change. Digital inequalities, understanding the digital gap in emerging countries and the intersection with socioeconomic factors. All these from the local, national, regional, and global perspective. The project has generated key innovations. For example, in interdisciplinary approaches, integration of digital economy, governance, and sustainability studies, North-South collaboration, creation of research networks between institutions in Europe and the Global South, use of big data and digital methods, implementation of analysis based on artificial intelligence, and data modeling in public policies, among others. I would say that more than a project, it has been 5 years or more of deep experiences, full of lessons in many, many fields. Prodigees is a very good example of international cooperation in science, technology, and innovation. Therefore, we want to continue building upon this friendly and collaborative relationship with the German Institute for Development and Sustainability. Through the signing of this memorandum of understanding that will allow us to carry out diverse actions, such as the exchange of visits of researchers and management staff of both institutions to share experiences and opinions on topics of common interest. Joint research projects whose results can be disseminated through publications, scientific articles, and academic reports. Training programs, conferences, forums, seminars, roundtables organized jointly. I close my speech by giving special recognition to Dr. Carlos Dominguez and, of course, Wolf, Reiners, and all the great staff of IDOS for their great commitment and leadership in the project. And I also want to recognize the work of the researchers and participant institutions, including Instituto Mora and the MGG network, who participated so enthusiastically in the project throughout these years. Thank you so much. Sean pues muy bienvenidas, muy bienvenidos al Instituto Mora. Esta es su casa y espero que su estancia aquí sea de verdad muy, muy productiva y sobre todo divertida. Muchas gracias.
Many thanks, Gabriela, and thanks, Herbrand, for joining us. Thanks, colleagues, for coming long distances. Many of you long distances with different time zones, so we appreciate. It's a privilege to be engaging with research institutions of high quality in general, and there is a number of the institutions present, and Instituto Mora, for me, is a particular place. Let me start with a very personal element. Instituto Mora is a long-standing partner of MGG, and when I assumed my position as head of department, it might have been a coincidence, but I think it's also very telling that the first visit to an institution at the time was to Instituto Mora. As I said, might have been a coincidence, but I think there's also some fate in that. It was at the time jointly with my predecessor, Thomas Fuß, and was in the year of the 10th anniversary of the MGG program. So 2017 that we were here, and 10th anniversary, now we are in the 18th year of MGG. You know what they say about friendships that form in teenage years, they last longest. So that is actually the period that we engaged in most. As you might know, the intellectual origin of the MGG program is based on a conceptual work that was talking about anchor countries. It was published in early 2000s, and to sum it up in one sentence, it basically says that there are countries described as anchor countries that are crucial for the region's development. And their performance can therefore stabilize the region and pull them forward, anchoring them in progress. Or, if things go wrong, they can also come with a negative connotation of an anchor, meaning pulling down. In building the MGG network, we try to include a broad range of actors, from government to civil society to private sector and also academia. The multi-perspectivity to us is crucial, both from countries but also from different backgrounds that people are having and engaging in relevant research, and everyday relevant research. From the 18 years of MGG, I think I could claim that there are not only anchor countries, but also anchor institutions for a network that we are engaging in. And many of them are represented in this project, Prodigees, and are in the room. And Instituto Mora clearly is one of them. It might not be surprising that research institutions, amongst this diversity of actors that we have in MGG, that research institutions are particularly prone to cooperation. Yes and no. Research institutions work in their own context. They work in academia, works in a national system of higher education. We have institutional setups. We have funding challenges and funding perspectives that differ across national setups. We have our own strengths and we have our own shortcomings in our systems. However, what unites us as academia is actually the thrive for theory-led and sometimes theory-building quest for empirically backed evidence, answers to challenges of humankind answers to challenges of our societies. I believe we all see a public function of research. We serve a public purpose, and we therefore strive to formulate recommendations or share our learnings with decision makers for the greater good. Recommendations, Carlos was a bit not hesitant but cautious in saying, let's see what we can come up with, giving us a task for the days to come. And this policy advice, I don't want to speak of the frustrations that it can entail every day, providing policy advice and feeling that you're not being listened to. It is a daily thing, and it used to be, always is a challenge for researchers to formulate something that is policy relevant, that can be used in the policy context. In addition, in post-truth political debates and disconcerting unpredictability around us, it's actually ever more important to bring our varying and common perspectives together. We sometimes share perspectives, we sometimes differ. Debating them makes us what we are. That's academic, the academic purpose, and bringing that to society and continue working on sustainable futures, I think is the key purpose that we're doing. So I rather want to remind us of the common values and the sometimes challenging but mostly enriching exchanges that we are having with each other around pertinent topics, the digitalization not being the least of that. It's actually a topic that, as both speakers have said, Wolf and Carlos and Ben, we've been jointly exploring. It's not that we actually knew and wanted to develop that further, but we were exploring the topic together, and now we're bringing it together, sharing it, and see how it impacts on sustainable futures. It's in that spirit that us as a management of IDOS, speaking here for the institution, we would like to see the collaboration between IDOS and Instituto Mora to thrive. We enjoy working with you and would want to continue working. As we say, we have to explore that over the days of where to go on this and how to make this framework that we have developed in difficult times. You mentioned COVID-19 as a catalyst. It was actually a major obstacle as well, because the program consists of staff exchanges, which during COVID times were particularly challenging. And kudos to everybody who managed, organized, kept it going, and of course to all of you who engaged in exchanges. Thank you very much. And I think the MOU that we are signing with Instituto Mora is a good framework that will enhance or institutionalize the relations that we have, and let's fill that with more life over the years. We are very much looking forward to that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Good morning. Yes. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure for me to be here. Dr. Gabriela Sanchez Gutierrez, Director General of Instituto Mora. It's a very pleasure to meet you and to coincide with you in this forum. Dr. Sven Grimm, Director at IDOS. It's also a pleasure to meet you here. Okay, head of the department, sure. Appreciate Secretary Pablo Yanez. Also very pleasure to meet you here, and I hope we can continue the very good collaboration with the government of Mexico City and our embassy in our country as well. Dear Wolf Reiners, thank you for the invitation to be here and to function as a representative of German government. Dear representatives of the different academic and governmental institutions, colleagues from other embassies, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure for me to have the opportunity to represent the German embassy in Mexico and to share with all of you the opening of the final conference on digitalization towards sustainable development in the Mora Institute, held by MGG and Prodigees. It is as well as an honor to attend the signing of a memorandum of understanding between the Mora Institute and IDOS to strengthen the already profound and constructive collaboration between these two partners of our countries and the multilateral cooperation to highlight the global role and the potential of this research collaboration. Prodigees constitutes an important project funded by the European Union's Horizon 2020 that concludes this year and which was led by IDOS and the Instituto Mora. The research of the interaction between digitalization, environmental issues, economy, governance, and society was a main focus of this strong collaboration. In this regard, I would point out that Prodigees was connected to the Managing Global Governance program and received also financial support of the German Federal Ministry of Economic Cooperation and Development, and as well as the state of North Rhine-Westphalia in Germany. The plurality of the participants in this forum and the collaboration between of the conference in celebration of the conference in Mexico states the relevance of the MGG networking in our most important global partners, countries, for almost 20 years. As we know, the Agenda 2030 represents our understanding of global development to a just and inclusive prosperity that includes much more than statistics, numbers, and measures. The redesign of economy towards sustainability, protection of nature, a healthy environment, clean energy, and sustainable use of resources is a common challenge of all societies and governance of the world. We are proud that both Germany and Mexico are willing to encounter effects that put in danger prosperity of the world. Well-designed digitalization strategies and innovation are contributing to a sustainable development which will fight poverty. This accompanies, for example, the Sustainable Development Goal 9 on innovation and constitutes an inseparable component of the same route Mexico and Germany walk together as global cooperation partners, as well as other nations today represented here. The overcoming of the most perceptible challenges of humankind is the only opportunity to change our ways of life towards a new low-emission lifestyle and a sustainable economy. We are convinced that we owe this to our children and grandchildren. As it is the objective of German and Mexican political agendas, we pursue the conviction to attend the needs of the most vulnerable sectors of world societies, as it was also stated out by Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum, under the maxim of leave no one behind. Decision makers all over the world have the valuable and defined task to bring sustainable policies and public services to the people they are in charge. The public supply and provision of goods as water, clean air, and healthy environment are more important than ever in our times. And as it is in Mexico, Germany, Brazil, South Africa, India, and lots of other countries in the world, a human right. Digitalization strategies must be concrete, but have to enclose the whole complexity of sustainable transformation and development. I am thankful to be here today and to be able to state the great efforts of MGG Network to celebrate this relevant forum as a part of a very ambitious agenda, where young academics, public servants, and other experts coming from different world regions to exchange ideas, points of view, and initiatives for sustainable development. The German Embassy in Mexico City, as well as the BMZ, and myself welcome this important initiative of the Managing Global Governments Program and Network that is convinced that the cooperation in the public sector, civil society, and moreover, the academic sector constitutes a promising entry point to generate multiple positive effects in the administration. A constant strengthening of capacity development in the field of digitalization is necessary and in line with the cooperation objectives between my country and Mexico, also worldwide. The network partners prove once again to have the important instrument to vitalize the cooperation agenda with Mexico as a core partner in the initiative and to be a strong connection country to other partners around the world, as India, Brazil, and South Africa. Once again, thank you for these efforts and the restlessness to tackle the upcoming challenges for the world's societies. And as you say in Mexico, enhorabuena.
Ah, okay. Ah, it's okay. Oh, that's very
Picture, please. Time.
okay. Okay.
Nice.
Oh, it was
We will now have a very short break, like 10 minutes, right? And then we come back for the first keynote speech. Thank you.